Hello there, Petals. It's your Aunt Ethel here to welcome you to the Social Good Hour. Designed to uplift, inspire, and encourage by highlighting those change makers around the globe who are using social media to make the world a better place indeed. So, without any further ado, my friends, may I introduce to you your friend and mine, the host of the show, the amazing Chris Strubb.
Hey, thank you, Ethel. Welcome to everybody to the Fly the W studio. It's Monday, 4 p.m. You know what that means. It's time again for the Social Good Hour, episode number 8. I'm your host, Chris Strubb, the Giving Day guy. We've got an awesome guest coming up for you in just a few minutes. I'm going to bring her on the screen because she's smiling right now. She's looking awesome as always. There's Julia Campbell. She is just a few minutes away. She's laughed. Ethel, who did our intro. We've got a few fun things planned before we bring on Julia in just a couple minutes. Of course, this show is brought to you by Restream.io. And through the power of Restream, we are able to use what we call the chat overlay. It's out of beta. It's here. It's available for everyone. So if you get your free trial of Restream right now, you can use this exact same feature. If you go to restream.teamstrub.com, you can turn on that chat overlay and your messages, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Twitch, will show up in real time on the screen. Try it. Go ahead. Julia's watching in the green room. You can give it a shot. Scott, I saw your comment right there. Scott's already ribbing me a little bit saying that I look 12 years old in some of that intro footage. My buddy Scott Ayers, love checking out your show earlier today and glad to see you're back from vacation. If you're new to the show, here's what we've got going on. So we're going to start today's episode like we do every episode with Tell Me Something Good. I'm going to give you another awesome Monday motivator. We'll have a quick 50 States, 100 Days trivia question where you'll have a chance to win a signed copy of 50 States, 100 Days, the book. I'm running out of these yellow copies, by the way, so this is like a special edition. We'll have a quick word from our show sponsor, Restream. Of course, the main event today is our pal, Julia Campbell of JC Social Marketing. So you'll see her in just a few minutes. Then we'll wrap up with my closing thoughts. Bing, bam, boom. We'll be done by 5 p.m. somewhere. So let's get going. We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock. This is your 5 minutes to tell me something.
Tell me something good.
There you go. I screwed up the overlay a little bit, but we're going to get started with Tell Me Something Good. Let's get 5 minutes rolling on the clock. And I've got a little bit of news for you. I'll start here. Scott says, love what you just did with the overlay. Yeah. See, this is my favorite part of the show, Scott, is Tell Me Something Good. I want to hear all about your trip, Scott. I know you just finished a big old road trip with the family, checked out some new states. Nobody loves road tripping more than I do. So cool to see that you guys were able to have a good time in this crazy COVID world that we're living in. Chris Bryant says something good. Taxes are done. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Really proud of you. That's great. Julia Campbell, I knew that the kids would come up bright and early in the show here at some point. Kids are going back to school in Massachusetts on April 5th. We'll ask Julia about parenting and teaching for the last year. I know that that was a job title of her many hats that she wears that she really loved adding to the resume in 2020. Scott says Mount Rushmore was awesome to see. That's great. Marianne Bancroft is, Bornhoft is watching on Twitter. So you see all those different comments coming in from different platforms. She says she's loving Twitter Spaces. She thinks it's going to be a great place to share positivity. I love it. That's great. I haven't really done much in Twitter Spaces. I've been on Clubhouse just a little bit. But yeah, let us know, Marianne. This is your 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Let us know if you have a Twitter space coming up that we can tune into, or if you're doing something weekly or monthly. We'd love to share that something good. Now I'm going to share something. I'm going to break a little news here for you guys and let you know I'm feeling a little woozy today. I'm not quite feeling 100%. It's okay. I got my weekly COVID test this morning, so we'll get those results tomorrow. But I suspect that it is not COVID that is bringing me down a little bit today. In fact, the something good going on in my world is that on Saturday, I went and got to do this. Got my COVID-19 first vaccination shot. Got the Moderna shot. Julia is applauding in the green room there. There you see it, CVS down in beautiful Greenwood, South Carolina. Nice little hour and 15 minutes south of here in Greenville, but with plenty of vaccine appointments available here in South Carolina. I was able to get down there, grab an appointment. Waited about 45 minutes in line once you get to CVS. Quick little jab in the left arm. Felt okay. Did the 15-minute waiting period. And it was all right to drive back. So that was good. Actually worked out yesterday. And today, we're going to cross the 48-hour mark. Today is really when you start to feel it a little bit. So you can see that I'm still on my feet here, still putting the show together, coming through for you, because this is your day, Monday, 4 p.m., every Monday across all these different channels. And of course, we've got a wonderful guest here during Women's History Month. Is Julia Campbell. She'll be on with us in just a few minutes. Chris Bryant says, congrats on the shot. Yeah, it's fun. It was fun. It was all right. I filmed it. I should have loaded up the little video for you guys. I forgot to load the video in here. Maybe next week I'll play the video for you. And we'll definitely get video of the second one as well. Marianne says, tomorrow, 10:30 Pacific, is my Thankful Tuesday Power Hour on Twitter Spaces at Spokane House. Awesome. So that's 1:30 Fly the W studio time, 10:30 Pacific. That'll be awesome, Marianne. So if you're watching, you're a fan of Twitter Spaces and audio on Twitter, that you can tune in. We've got just over 40 seconds to go here in this week's Tell Me Something Good. I'm pumped. My mom is getting her second vaccine shot this Sunday. My dad was fully vaccinated between January to February, both of them with the Pfizer shot up in New York. I got the Moderna shot, and really just, you don't even know. I mean, just overjoyed to look out the window and think about all of the things that we've missed out on in the last year and how these vaccines are going to help us get back to somewhat of a sense of normalcy. 3, 2, 1, there is your Tell Me Something Good for this week. Thanks for letting me share my story real quick. Trying to stay hydrated here, so bear with me for a moment. Oh man, needed that. Let's get into our Monday Motivator today. We'll run through these pretty quick so that we can get straight over to Mrs. Campbell there. Our Monday Motivator this week is a familiar face that you may have seen on cable news. Maybe you've read some of his work in the newspapers lately. Over the last year, we're sticking with the vaccine theme. His name is Dr. Peter Hotez, MD. He is the Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine and Professor of Pediatrics and Molecular Virology and Microbiology at the Baylor College of Medicine. And I've never met Dr. Hotez. I feel like I know him, having watched him on cable news for the last year. The guy is an incredibly hard worker, and I know that his messaging has made an enormous difference in encouraging people, especially down there in Houston where he's based, to get the vaccine when they can, to follow proper COVID protocols, and to help us get through this pandemic as a nation. So thank you, Dr. Hotez. You are this week's Monday Motivator. I appreciate you. I would recommend following Dr. Hotez on Twitter. He is a great follow and surely a very nice guy. Maybe we'll grab coffee or something a couple years from now when we're not dealing with COVID-19. Let's get to our trivia question of the day. Oh, Chris Bryant says that his dad got his second shot last week too. Woot! Woot. I love it. That's fantastic. Way to go, Papa Bryant. Today's 50 States 100 Days trivia question is, and I will read this off here. It did not change in my in my thing here. I knew that there was something that would go wrong here. Bear with me for a second. What is the number one live streaming platform by hours watched according to restream.io? Julia is waving her hand. Julia, you've already got a copy of the book though, so we're gonna throw Julia back there. There is the number one question right there. What is the number one live streaming platform by hours watched? Not users, hours watched according to Restream. Who's gonna get it? Who's going to get it? You probably know it. I'll give you a big hint. We are live on this platform right now thanks to restream.io. What is the number one live streaming platform by hours watched? We will give you 30 seconds to take your guesses before we let Julia Campbell come on and give us the answer. There you go, 30 seconds on the clock. Who's going to get it? Marianne says YouTube. That is incorrect. It is not YouTube. It is not YouTube. But that's a good guess because there are only 5 platforms that we are live on right now with the hashtag social good hour. YouTube is one of them. 3, 2, 1. All right. Chris Bryant, take a guess. Marianne says Restream. Not quite. Julia, do you know the answer?
Twitch.
Twitch is the answer. Julia,
I will donate the book.
Another copy.
Or I will donate it to someone in the comments.
Fantastic.
Marianne, she's the winner.
Marianne, congratulations. You are the winner of our 50 States 100 Days, the book contest. We're going to get to Julia in just a moment. But before we do so, we are going to play a requisite quick message from our sponsor, Restream. Did you know that you can get your free trial of Restream right now? If you go to this URL, it's restream.teamstrub.com. In fact, I'm going to have Chris Bryant type that URL into the comments for me. It's http://restream.teamstrub.com. It's restream.teamstrub.com. In fact, I think I can type it too. Teamstrub.com. Get your free trial now. Oh, see that? I'm learning new stuff about Restream every week. There you go. So restream.teamstrub.com is where you can go to get your free trial now. Please do it. Take a moment while we're watching this quick video here and go to that website, sign up for your free trial. I will tell you that in all sincerity, it makes the difference between whether or not there will continue to be a social good hour or not. So with that, here's a quick message from our friends at Restream. That's right. Restream.teamstrub.com is where you can go to get your free trial of Restream. Get started today. It's awesome. It's fun. As you can see, every week I have fun playing around with the different aspects of Restream. I am super grateful to our friends at Restream for making the social good hour possible. Again, I say with all sincerity, without Restream, there is no social good hour. So please take a minute today, whether you're watching live or on replay, go to that website. It's restream.teamstrub.com. I'll put it up there one more time. Restream.teamstrub.com. I put it in the comments as well, so you should be able to click on it. You can sign up for your free trial with no obligation, and you can play around with it. It's a lot of fun. You can have a bunch of guests. You can obviously stream to a lot of different destinations simultaneously, which is how we were able to have some fun there with the Social Good Hour, with comments coming in from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. It's a great platform, and I am very grateful to our friends at Restream for making the show possible. Let's go ahead and put our chat overlay back on and remind you that you can chat about the show using the hashtag Social Good Hour. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Chris Strub. And you can check out all the gear that I use to create the show at strubstuff.com. To support the show, again, there's so many different things that you can do. You can hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button on the video, no matter which platform you're watching on. You can turn that bell on YouTube to be reminded when the show goes live every Monday. You can retweet the tweet that goes out at 4 p.m. every Monday. You can tag Restream.io on Twitter, let them know that you're a fan of the show. You can add me on LinkedIn and watch the show there. And you can be awesome like our pal Julia Campbell and share the show on your Instagram story. There's all kinds of ways that you can support the show. But again, the number one way to do so would be to get your free trial of Restream right now at restream.teamstrub.com. Now, are you ready for the main event? I know I am. My buddy, Julia Campbell, let's bring her on screen as we read this wonderful introduction. No. Julia, here we go. Ready?
I forgot what I sent you. Okay. Very super embarrassing.
Recently named one of the 25 most influential nonprofit thought leaders and one of the 7 nonprofit thought leaders to follow on Twitter during the coronavirus crisis, Julia Campbell is on a mission to make the digital world a better place. She is the author of 2 books. I knew I was forgetting something. I have your book in the other room, and I forgot to grab it. I was going to hold it up.
Copies. I'll hold them up for you.
You'll have to hold up 2, so it looks like I'm holding one up. It's on my bookshelf. A mom of 2 kids. You can hold those up too, although they're getting bigger. And a returned Peace Corps volunteer. Her passion is to get organizations and change makers to stop spinning their wheels and start getting real results using digital tools. You can check out her thoughts and ideas at jcsocialmarketing.com/blog. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Julia Campbell. Julia, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I've got copies of my books all over my office. I bought a ton of them, probably like most of us did, when I thought I would have speaking engagements in 2020. So I have a lot of books.
Speaking engagements. What is a speaking engagement? I know I'm trying to remember now what that was like. You know, this is a speaking engagement, right?
This is absolutely, Julia, I count this as a speaking engagement. Yes.
Perfect. Let's start here. Today is March 15th, 2021. We're more than a year into the pandemic. What is one thing you've learned about yourself over the last year?
That I love sleep. Okay. So
I love sleep too. Yes.
I knew that I loved sleep, but I wouldn't prioritize it at all when I was flying all over the country, doing the speaking engagements. Kids were going to school, constantly on the go. I was waking up at 5 a.m. some days to work before the kids got up, like staying up late. I'm not saying there's anything bad about doing those things, but the ability to slow down and reflect and not have to be on that constant hamster wheel really has made me realize how much sleep means to me, and just rest and like recuperation means to me.
You know, Julia, I was listening to, by the way, also a big sleep fan here. So no disagreements from me.
Yeah, 8 hours of sleep. You got to do it. I have my Fitbit that yells at me if I don't get 8 hours of sleep.
So you and I have both eschewed sleep for a while. Now you're a mom, so I can never compare to
moms can get sleep too, though. I'm going to write a book about it. I don't know how yet, but yes.
Okay.
Keep going.
You've long been a fan, and when we are on the same wavelength on this, we're both big fans of in-person speaking engagements, like we just mentioned, right? And you and I met at the inaugural nonprofit social media summit right outside Boston back in the fall of 2019. So I have a two-part question for you. What is your favorite live stage you've ever spoken on? And what do you think is the future of live in-person events?
Well, before I answer those questions, I just have to talk about the summit for a minute, because that was the last live speaking engagement that John Hayden ever did. And I just felt really privileged and honored to have all of you there in one place. It was just so amazing. My favorite, well, I might have to flex here a little bit. I'm not trying to flex, but I was invited to speak at a business school in Moscow in 2018 or 2019. 2018 it might be. I don't know. 2019. I don't actually remember. I should remember, but it all is like, it's all fading together. Yeah. But it was such an amazing experience. When I got the email, I thought it was a scam. I wasn't sure what it was. Like, are they trying to take my money? What's happening? But it was just speaking on stage in a completely different country. It was a gigantic stadium. I mean, it was 2,500 people. That's the largest, by far the largest, platform I've ever had. But that probably was my favorite. And then what was the second question? What do I see the future of in-person speaking?
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to be smaller. I think that we will get back to larger conferences. I think that's a natural progression, maybe not for a year or so, but I do think we need that in-person engagement. I miss that so much. And I know you do too, Chris, like the standing on stage, getting the feel of the crowd. Cause like right now I'm talking to people. I have no idea if they're paying attention, if they're sleeping, if they're bored, what they're doing. I do so many virtual speaking engagements via Zoom. I try to make it as engaging as possible. You make your show super engaging and interactive.
Thank you.
But it's so hard to gain, to feel the energy. It's just so hard to gauge the energy level. But the future of speaking, I really hope that it does come back. Maybe it's like 50 people here, then 100 people, then 200 people. And then maybe we can go back to, the groups of 600 that we used to speak to. So it's really hard to tell, but I'm really hopeful.
So in the context of what you mentioned about your deepened appreciation for sleep, do you see yourself getting back on the live speaking circuit?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm going to be much more discerning. So I've had my business now for 11 years in March. And
congratulations.
Thank you. The first few years, I spoke anywhere and everywhere. Like a chamber of commerce would call me up, a Rotary Club, a Kiwanis Club, a church. I don't care. A PTO, I'm speaking to them, right? So that was probably 5 years of my business. And then once I became more of a professional speaker, I became a little more discerning. But my problem is I'm a people pleaser. This is also a problem that I have with social media and just with consulting and having my own business in general. I want to always make everybody happy. So I do feel like I'm going to be much more discerning. I have 3 in-person engagements lined up for the second half of 2021, and I'm hopeful for them, but I'm certainly not going to say yes to everything that I did before. I can't have that hustle mentality. Also, I will not be getting on a plane before like 10 a.m. So that's a kind of a deal breaker for me.
Oh man. I remember, I think I had like a 5 a.m. departure out of Boston because I came back to Boston after the summit to go to another conference. And I think I was on like the first flight out of Logan. It was just insane how early I had to wake up.
I know.
So those days, I don't really miss that. Let's
I don't miss that.
Throw this caption up on the screen here and remind you, as Julia mentioned, she is a people pleaser. I too am a people pleaser. And so if you are watching live, as I hope you are, if you have questions for Julia Campbell, if you put them in the comments, those go, first of all, they'll go right on the screen and they'll go right to the top of my priority list. I've got some more fun questions for Julia, but if you are watching live, it's the fun part of being here with us at 4 p.m. Eastern every Monday, that this is your show. This is not my show. So let us know what you want to know, and we will ask Julia pretty much. Julia's a pretty open book. Like I've talked to Julia she'll answer pretty much anything, and I will ask pretty much anything. But Julia, let's keep rocking and rolling here.
Okay.
You mentioned 11 years. Ooh, hydrating sounds good. Your career in the nonprofit space actually predates the social media industry. So would you say overall that social media has made the world a better place?
No. That's an interesting question, but my gut instinct is that we were given these tools. It's sort of in the movie when they give you all this power and then you make it evil. We were given these tools. And what I see now, though, is I see the complete backlash against what we've been given. And it's just kind of karma. So with the new, for instance, the Apple update now coming out to iOS, where Apple users will be allowed to choose whether or not they let their data be sold to internet providers. I mean, who's going to check that box, right? No one's going to check it. So I think that we have just abused our power so much, and it's unfortunate that I can't say that it has. On the other hand, we do see more possibilities for organizing. So we see the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement mobilizing internationally. I mean, we see the climate change movement. Like, I don't think Greta Thunberg would have had a platform without social media, really, because she became a star on YouTube, and then she had an Instagram account, and she really gained notoriety via social media channels. So I think it's just a double-edged sword. And what I really think, I think we're at a turning point right now, especially after the pandemic, where we have to decide which path we're going to take. Like, are we going to continue down this road of being inside these community Facebook groups where everyone is so mean to each other? Or are we going to use social media for good, spread positivity, raise money for causes? There's so many more tools available now. So many more people can be connected now. So I don't know. I mean, my instinct is to say no, but I'm feeling it's like 51% to 49%. So I think that right now we are at a pivotal turning point where we get to decide and we get to choose which avenue we're going to take. And I really hope we take the let's try to encourage compassion and empathy route.
And of course you've worked, you've helped teach social media to countless nonprofits I'd ask you to put a number on it, but it's infinite in the ways that we've reached out to and put ourselves out there, which is sort of the fun of social media. But I get the sense in the nonprofit space in particular, there's mixed feelings about sort of the importance of social media. Would you agree?
There's a serious ambivalence because, first of all, the ethical implications a lot of the time with Facebook not banning white supremacy speech early enough, or maybe still not, with QAnon, conspiracy theories being allowed to just proliferate and spread, with hate speech being allowed on the site. I think there's a serious ambivalence. And what I tell my clients is that you just have to make the decision for yourself. And then on the other hand, there's always like two sides to every story, right? On the other hand, there are nonprofits raising so much money that they couldn't raise for causes that are genuinely important. I mean, I think about the Australian bushfires and how many millions of dollars were raised internationally in like a heartbeat in 48 hours because like some influencers, celebrities, people talked about it on Facebook and Instagram. So the power and the potential is there. But, and I know this is not necessarily what you're talking about. I'm talking about more of the ethical implications. And then the other piece of the puzzle is the truth and the reality of social media. Like, we don't own the platforms. We have zero control over what they do, over how they operate. They are big businesses. They answer to their shareholders only. They don't answer to the users. We know that we're a commodity. Our data is being sold, and that's why the Apple iOS update came out. So I think we need to be realistic that we can't put all of our eggs in the social media basket. We need to be using these tools to augment things that we're already doing, but we really need to be building our platforms off social media, using social media to maybe cast a wider net, reach more people, do a live stream and like showcase our thought leadership and that kind of thing. But attracting people, building our email list is always, always essential. I think it's even more essential now. Getting people to your website, getting people to your events, just building your network on a place that you can control, which is really like your website, your blog, and your email list, your donor list. You have permission, you can control that. Because the updates, there was just another update the other day that was not announced, but I do know that across the board, my clients said their engagement was literally decimated overnight. Like all of them said, what happened? Like, was there an update? I don't know. We used to be reaching 10,000 of our fans and now we're reaching 2,000 and only 2 people are liking it. And I had to say, I don't know. Like there was no announced update. Facebook can pull the rug out from under us at any point.
It's pretty crazy to think back on how the role of Facebook has changed over the last decade, and I don't come from a non-profit background. You do, that'll segue into my next question after this. But, from a marketing perspective, again, I think back to these, days a decade ago where it was, everything that we share gets seen by everybody. And now it's almost the complete opposite. And yet, I remember writing the article, a couple of years ago that more nonprofits around the world have a Facebook page than have their own website. So in many ways, Facebook has sort of taken the place of a website for.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Why not?
Because we don't own it. Facebook could start charging tomorrow. Honest to God, Mark Zuckerberg could wake up tomorrow and say, I want to charge people for Facebook pages. Yeah. And we would have no control over it.
So you think that, this is sort of a leading question, but obviously a nonprofit that is relying on its Facebook page needs to rethink its digital strategy.
Don't rely on it. Use it. Use the tools that have been given to you in the best way possible, but constantly be trying to get people to your website, get people to your email list. Even the Facebook pixel now, because what I used to try to tell clients was that even if you just get that click on your website, you have that data now, even if they don't like you on Facebook or Google, you have that data in Google so you can retarget ads. I think the entire digital marketing ecosystem is changing. And I think that everything's going to start being permission-based. People are start using incognito windows in Chrome. People are erasing cookies. People don't want to be followed around. I don't understand that at all because I like my ads to know who I am. I like Netflix to know who I am. I like Amazon to know who I am. I don't want to start from scratch.
Right.
That's just me. I think it's an older person thing, maybe because I'm older, but I don't know. And I do see the revolution coming where people are going to say, no, I don't want any of my data online. I don't want any of my existence online. So it's going to be really hard for us to keep track of who our audience is.
It's funny. I think you and I are probably outliers in the way that we are so comfortable living our lives on social media. I mean, I use Swarm and Foursquare to check in everywhere I go.
Is that a thing still? I wanted to ask you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean,
because I have Foursquare, but then I thought it was bought by Facebook. But are Swarm and Foursquare the same thing?
So Foursquare is used more as like a Yelp type thing where you can get tips and leave advice on different places. Okay, Swarm is more your check-in side of the and you get
badges though. It's gamification.
Yeah, you get badges. What I really love about it, and we're just running off on a tangent here, but what I really love about checking in wherever I go is it gives you this map of where you've been, where I can, and this isn't going to play terribly well on video, but if I brought up Swarm, I could show you like a map of I could show you the whole world, but I haven't been invited to speak in Russia and everywhere yet. So mine would just really be the US. But it would actually show you, again, if you're looking at this here, I can like zoom out and I can show you all the different places I've been. And when you've done like 50 Google states in 100 days.
It's like my Google timeline. So I have Google location turned on. And every month, although during the pandemic, it's been super depressing, but every month I get my Google Maps timeline, right? And so when I used to travel all the time, I would take pictures. I wouldn't officially check in with Google, but they have the satellite technology to track me down to like the literal half a mile. So I would take photos and share them. I would post them. And then when I would get my Google timeline, I agree. I loved having that documentation of what I was doing. And I love seeing where I had been and what I'd been doing. So I know, I agree for me. And no, I don't think anyone else could see it unless I posted it on social media, but
yeah,
I love that. And then other people can see that you're there. So I remember one time, like right when I got to Portland for the Nonprofit Technology Conference in 2019, I think I like checked in, or like I took a picture of my suitcase, or I don't know. And I like checked in. I was so excited. I had so many people messaging me being like, oh, I didn't know you were at this conference, or I didn't know you were here. And you just got here. And it was great. I thought it was great. Some people would definitely be creeped out by that, but I really liked it.
I want to say thanks to our live audience. Marianne says, Marianne's really enjoying the conversation. She says relying on social only isn't a good place to go, but you don't own that platform because you don't own it. Right. And, she said too, such a good conversation about helping nonprofits.
It's an amplification channel. It's the way I see it. It's not your infrastructure. It's not your house. It's just the amplification of what you're doing. It's the ability to reach new audiences and help them spread the word for what you're doing. Like the peer-to-peer aspect can't be denied. The power of the peer-to-peer network on social media, the social graph. But I know, I worry that, like you said, Chris, I do worry about nonprofits that have a Facebook page and then somehow think they don't need a website or an email list, because still the old school principles, they still apply.
Leaving a note there to keep the comments coming. I turned the chat overlay back on so you guys can see your comments pop up there on the stream. Julia, I want to segue. You use the word used, how you use social media, right? That's kind of what we're talking about, how these platforms, why they may be imperfect in their nature and in the ethics behind them, the way that you and I use these platforms has been very beneficial to us. So I want to pivot that into a question about how, how our listeners can do the same thing. So the question is, you come from a background of working lots of different positions at various nonprofits, which I don't. So this will be good to hear your answer. These days, even more than before, nonprofit employees have to wear multiple hats. And that was before the pandemic. Now with layoffs and everything, I'm sure it's even worse. So the question for you is, what are some of the aspects? Let me make sure I read this correctly. I've got vaccine brain. What are some of the aspects of running a nonprofit that social media can ease? So what are some of the ways that social media can help you do your job at a nonprofit?
Wow, that is a really great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. I like that question a lot. Well, I don't know if I have such good news for you. I mean, because social media, you know how it is, Chris. It's a beast that you have to feed constantly. It's like a puppy. It's like you get a puppy. It's free, right? You get a puppy from a neighbor, but you constantly have to feed it and train it and walk it and pay attention to it and play with it and do all of that. I think two ways is, one, it can help you reach a brand new audience. Now, with all of the ad updates that are coming down the pike, I do think it's going to be more challenging, but right now, it is kind of the best way to reach a completely brand new audience that has demonstrated to Facebook that they're interested in what you're offering. So I'm working with a botanic garden. Now, a lot of nonprofits would scoff and say, oh, well, we don't have beautiful pictures of flowers. We don't have a botanic garden. I want you to know that every nonprofit struggles, no matter what. I've worked with animal adoption charities that struggle. I've worked with children's charities that struggle. So I wouldn't write off this botanic garden just because they have pretty pictures of flowers, but they're trying to reach a brand new audience. You can actually target, like laser focused, people that follow certain other pages, or people that have checked in to certain other museums, or people that are in the demographic that you want to reach. You really can target them with ads and reach a brand new audience. So that's definitely one way that your job is easier. You don't have to, you're not paying for like a full page ad in the New York Times where you have literally no clue if anyone read it, what the return on investment is. I was going to say who clicked on it. That's how crazy my brain is, who actually acted on it. So you actually can get data and metrics and return on investment data and that kind of analytics much easier through social media. So I just think reaching a brand new audience is much easier for you.
Do you feel like social media allows you to establish camaraderie? I mean, in lieu of these
Community.
live events,
Yep.
This idea of, I wouldn't call myself part of hashtag fundraising Twitter, for example, but there's a lot of people that have similar jobs in the nonprofit industry that seem to like to connect with one another as they're doing their jobs that may not be marketing driven.
Exactly.
Fair?
So I don't follow Facebook groups. Well, I do. Okay. So there's a few Facebook groups that I'm in, for an example. One is museum social media managers, but it's basically people that work at museums all over the country, because a lot of these museums are very small and they don't have a dedicated social media manager. So it's this one person running membership or whatever else for the museum that's in this group. That group is the most positive, wonderful community of people giving each other advice, sharing resources, talking about tools, sharing examples. That is what I love about social media, is the museum social media managers group. I absolutely love it. It's arts and culture institutions, it's aquariums, it's theaters, it's other things. And then there are several groups that I belong to, even though I'm not an executive director, that are executive director groups. So who are the leaders of the organization? Who are the directors, founders? Because often when you are a founder of an organization, you have no other staff. Maybe you have some advisory board, which is basically your friends and family, and you have no idea like what your next step is. And it gets very overwhelming and stressful, especially right now. So I think these kinds of communities that are being built are really invaluable. They're on Twitter, they're on Clubhouse, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook. I think just searching for them and finding that community that can really support you. I love that you brought that up. I really feel like that is the power. That is the positive energy, the positive power of social media for nonprofits right now.
And I want to give a special shout out to, you lead the Facebook group about social media
storytelling.
Yeah. If you're watching this show and you're not part of that Facebook group, I would strongly encourage you to go check that out. If you're watching on replay, what's the exact title of it, Julia? So people can type it in.
Nonprofit social media storytelling. And I want to tell you, I started that group. I had no idea what I was doing. I don't even know how many, probably 2 years ago. It is now like 15,000 nonprofits.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You would think with that level of engagement, I'd have to monitor it 5 hours a day. I go in for a couple of hours. I go in here and there. It is so positive. It is so helpful. It's maybe, spam post here and there, but nothing overwhelming. But the majority of it is very just positive and helpful, and asking questions, and everyone sharing these amazing resources. And I know everyone's so busy, which is what I love. As someone asks a question, what's your favorite social media management platform? And they'll get 50 responses from people that I know are super busy and strapped themselves. So yeah, it makes me have faith in humanity, honestly.
There's so many great people out there, and it's nice to be reminded of the work that's being done. I'm keeping an eye on the clock here because I want to get through all my questions. And we've got some. I know Julia and I could talk for 12 hours, I'm sure. So I got to get this question in though. You're a big proponent of live streaming video. Mm-hmm. Can you touch on why live streaming is such a valuable tool for nonprofits to leverage? And as you answer this question, I'm actually going to play a little B-roll that I pulled of a conversation that you were having in real life. So you can just talk over this. There won't be sound. But why is live streaming such an important aspect of what a nonprofit can do?
Two things. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh gosh. Sorry to laugh about that video. That's Nonprofit Technology Conference 2019, probably. Anyway,
It is. That is 2 years ago yesterday.
Oh, look at Josh and Tim. Okay, so live streaming is really a fantastic way for you to humanize your organization because people are craving human connection right now. They don't necessarily want super polished. They don't necessarily want super produced. They don't want that, 20-minute, I'm saying $20,000, 5-minute video with 50 edits and 20 people talking and voiceovers. People want to know that there are other people at the end of the brand, right? At the end of the organization. I just think live stream is such a powerful way to make that connection because it's open, it's honest, anything can happen. Not only that, live streaming cuts through the algorithm. Everyone asks me every day, how can I get seen? How can I get more fans? How can I get more engagement? And I always say, you're not going to like this, but live stream video, because all of the platforms, it demonstrates to the platforms that you're serious. If you're doing it consistently, it gets the most engagement, and then it lives on your platform forever. And you can just continually drive traffic to it. So for me, live streaming, I don't do a live streaming show the same time every week. I'm much more inconsistent than Chris is, but every time I do a live streaming show, my Facebook stats go way up. They spike, my email list spikes, like everything goes up. So live streaming video has really helped me establish my personality. And I think for a lot of the organizations I work with, it's just a fantastic way to let people in, even if it's on Zoom, even if you're in your office, even if you're doing a Q&A with the executive director, just talking about the news or announcements or a milestone or a story. I think we overthink live streaming because we think it has to be like Good Morning America, like it has to be perfect, but it really doesn't have to be the Oprah interview with like the royals. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that. It can be just raw and open and honest. What I will say, like a really quick plug for Restream, I do know that one thing my clients say is that they are worried about going live on multiple channels because they're not going to be able to manage the comments. So I love that all of the comments from all of the channels are pulled in one place. And I know that was a huge thing for me because I go live on Zoom and then stream it to 5 places. And then I've got my phone and I've got my thing and I'm trying to monitor all the comments. So if that's something you're worried about, check out a professional platform where you can bring somebody in, you can share your screen. It looks super professional, but the live stream itself can still be kind of off the cuff and casual. So, I say just start, just experiment, and nobody expects you to be perfect the first time around. They just want you to be human. That's how I feel.
Well, thank you for that Restream plug. That was
it's amazing. I love it. I'm watching it here, and it's really a game changer, honestly.
Well, we're having fun, and we haven't even dived into the wacky portion of the show, which we're going to do now here with a recurring segment that I do every week called I See That IG. And again, I wish we had another hour to chat, Julia, but I do want to get through some of these things. So I'm going to pull up, if you haven't seen this, pull up a photo from Julia Campbell's Instagram. She has no idea what photo I selected. I'm going to ask her to share the backstory behind this image. So Julia, you ready to play I See That IG? All right, here we go. All right.
Yay!
Julia Campbell, I See That IG. Tell me the story.
Okay, so I'm a gigantic stan of Weird Al. I don't know if I'm using the stan term correctly. I've loved Weird Al my entire adult life, have all the albums, have seen him in concert 10,000 times. So he was playing the North Shore Music Theater, which is a tiny little, it's a theater, but it's like a theater locally where I live in my town of Beverly. I mean, I don't live there anymore, but it's the town over. And I had to move like hell and high water, called everybody, pulled every string. This was quite a few years ago. I don't even know if I had my son yet. This might have been 5 or 6 years ago. had to actually pull like every string I've ever known to man. Somehow convinced the director of the theater to let me in because they were doing a meet and greet for his like biggest fans. And so I somehow convinced them. It was Halloween night. Talk about an amazing night. And I was dressed as a Powerpuff Girl because I was going out with my friends, and I am dressed as Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. And yes, he is like just as nice as his reputation precedes him. He's like the most gracious, kind, amazing. I was having like a complete heart attack meeting him, and he was just completely nice and gracious and just one of the best nights of my life. And I had my Weird Al bobblehead.
She's going to grab it. While she grabs it, I think Julia and I were talking about this. We were talking about this before the show went live, Julia.
Yeah.
You're like, why? I know you're going to pull something from my Instagram. I don't know why nonprofits would follow me. The reason that I gravitate to Julia Campbell is because you are so human in what you do, right? That even the name of your company, JC Social Marketing, everything always comes with Julia. And I think that authenticity, you just embody it so well. And I think it's one reason why I consider you a good friend too. And, when you called and said, hey, you want to come to Boston and speak at my event? I was like, absolutely. You are
still the most cited blog post of all time.
Yeah,
You're the Team Strub tools.
Oh, well, I definitely was happy to bring value to the group there. So thank you again for having me. It was awesome to get a chance to be part of that experience. And, I think we all have our fingers crossed for future nonprofit social media summits. So we'll leave it on that sigh because we've got more to get through. I want to go speed round here.
Okay, good.
Go speed round.
Yes. So I love this picture.
Oh, wait.
We still have
Weird Al up there. All right.
I love that you made that face. I know. He's just the best.
It's funny. I would have left that up there for the rest of the show. So thanks for pointing that out to me. All right. 4 questions for you.
Okay. Ooh.
Speed round. Best concert you've ever been to?
Pearl Jam when they played the Boston Garden 1994.
Best local brewery in Massachusetts?
Notch Brewery in Salem.
When traveling, your airline of choice is?
JetBlue. My God. JetBlue.
Okay.
Spirit.
And,
no, just kidding.
Who will be the first female U.S. president?
Kamala Harris. Most likely. I'm not mad about that. I wanted Hillary, but Kamala Harris, love her.
On that, I want to know, in honor of Women's History Month, who are the women that you look up to for strength, guidance, and wisdom?
Okay, well, can we go to my wall? Let's go to my wall.
Let's go full to Julia here so we
can. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stacey Abrams, Michelle Obama, Lady Gaga, Busy Phillips, the girls of Broad City, Nancy Pelosi, Serena Williams, Courtney Love, Issa Rae, and my lovely daughter. So I do have a wall of women.
The perfect answer. And love the wall of women. Thankfully, I feel like if I had a wall of women, it'd be weird in the studio. So I'll stick with my baseball theme here. But that's fantastic. Julia, we are going to do a recurring segment that I call Freeze Frame, where we're going to pose for a quick picture. Do you have a favorite pose that we could do?
I'm going to pose with Weird Al.
We're going to pose with, I wish I had I should grab my bobblehead. Hold on.
Yeah.
In lieu of a
Weird you have a bobblehead of yourself? That's amazing.
This is the Chris Strub bobble. Yeah, there's lots of fun stuff on the wall there. It's not a wall of women, but it's
I need a bobblehead.
All right, freeze frame. Chris Bryant, this is your task every week. 3, 2, 1. All right, perfect.
So it's gonna be like, who is Julia holding?
Julia, we're running short on time, but I need to ask you to please explain, give us 30 seconds to 60 seconds on your courses that you have available as well. I want to make sure I give you a chance to talk about how people can work with you or support you here in the second quarter of 2021.
Thank you. Well, if you just go to jcsocialmarketing.com, I have my blog. I have a list of my online courses. I have ways you can work with me. So that's really my hub. at Instagram, Julia Campbell 77. If you want to see more of me stalking celebrities and more cute kid photos. So those are the two best ways to get in touch with me.
That is a great summation of the Julia Campbell life these days. Julia Campbell, it's been wonderful to chat with you. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
For a while. And I'm so glad we could make it happen. There you have it. There's her website on the screen there. It's jcsocialmarketing.com. She's got her books, online courses, all sorts of cool stuff coming up. Julia Campbell, thanks so much for joining us. And we will chat again sometime.
Definitely.
For sure. So
Definitely.
Thank you.
Take care, be safe, stay well, hydrate, rest up.
That's the plan. And good luck on getting your shot as well. I'm rooting for you.
Soon.
Fingers crossed. All right, Julia, we'll talk to you soon. Julia Campbell, everybody, thanks so much for being here. Julia, I appreciate you. Let's bring up the iPad here. We'll get the captions off the screen. And it is time for some quick closing thoughts. We're going to do some abridged closing thoughts here because we're up against 5 minutes. Let's do 90 seconds of closing thoughts today. How about that? Spring ahead. This weekend, we lost an hour of sleep, but I think that much more importantly, we are moving as a country in a great direction. This has kind of been a recurring theme of the closing thoughts the last few weeks, but it's true. You know, as the weather starts to warm up, as things start to reopen up around the country, as COVID numbers continue to drop, it's important that we remember to keep thinking about all these good things that are ahead of us. It is, of course, important for us to remember those that we've lost. Unbelievably, we've crossed 500,000 lives lost in the last year. But my hope for you today is that we start to think about what comes next, and we start to really appreciate just how special our world can be. Our guest, Julia Campbell, I think is one of those really bright lights in the world who does a great job of uplifting not just her clients, but also providing necessary support to tons and tons of nonprofits and just supporting so many great causes. And Julia is just one of many incredible people out there that if you know where to look, you'll be able to find that shining light. And hopefully this show has helped bring that to you over the last couple of months. That's it for our closing thoughts today. Next week, episode 9, it is my good buddy, Prince Holmes. Yes, Prince Holmes from Youth Rebuilding New Orleans. If you read 50 States, 100 Days, you know Prince. I am so proud of Prince and how far he's come since I met him back in May of 2015. He was a volunteer coordinator with Youth Rebuilding New Orleans. He has ascended to become the organization's executive director. Just the kindest, funniest guy, super hard worker. You're going to love this organization and love hearing about YRNO. I've talked about it for 6 years now as one of my favorite stops during 50 States, 100 Days, and just overjoyed that we get a chance to chat with Prince Holmes next Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, here on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, and of course, everybody's favorite, Facebook. My name is Chris Jubb, the Giving Day Guy. I will ask you one more time as we sign off, please remember to go to restream.teamstrub.com, sign up for a free trial of Restream. It doesn't cost you anything. And it would really help as we approach the renewal, the hopeful renewal, the springtime renewal of the Social Good Hour. If you've taken something positive from the show, it would really legitimately be extremely helpful to me if you went to restream.teamstrub.com and checked it out. That's all I got for you today. I will see you back next week. Oh, wait. I forgot the popper. We made it through the show. I got a twist with my sore left arm. See if we can get it to go here. We'll see you next week on the Social Good Hour, episode 9. Ho! Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll see you next week.